Welcome to our deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about genetic engineering.
Yeah, genetic engineering is pretty amazing stuff.
I know, I'm super excited about this one. Manipulating the very building blocks of life to change the traits of organisms like...
It's like science fiction, but it's real.
Exactly.
And we're not just talking about curing diseases or boosting crops.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
Of course.
But genetic engineering could even bring back extinct species.
Whoa, hold on. Extinct species. That's crazy.
It is. It's incredible.
So we're going to be going, way beyond the headlines today.
Absolutely.
Our sources really get into the nitty-gritty, like the how and the so what of all this.
Yeah, for sure. And to really understand the implications, we need to grasp the science first.
Okay, so what are we talking about here?
Well, one of the most groundbreaking tools is CRISPR.
CRISPR.
Yeah, it's like a precise gene editing tool.
Yeah.
It allows scientists to target and modify specific DNA sequences. It's like, imagine correcting a faulty gene that causes a disease like cystic fibrosis.
Right at the source.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So it's not just fixing problems then.
Right.
CRISPR can also introduce entirely new traits.
Absolutely.
Like golden rice, is that what our source mentioned?
Yeah, golden rice is a great example.
Okay, so what is that all about?
Well, it's engineered to produce beta-carotene,
Beta-carotene.
which our bodies convert to vitamin A.
Okay.
And this is huge, especially in regions where vitamin A deficiency is a major health concern.
I see.
So this simple genetic modification
Yeah.
could potentially save millions of lives.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
Such a small tweak can have such a massive impact. It's
Boy.
really incredible. Were there any other examples that stood out to you from the research?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know how we were just talking about using bacteria for good?
Mm-hmm.
Another success story is insulin production.
Okay.
We used to rely on extracting it from animals.
Right.
It was costly.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Sure.
But now, thanks to genetic engineering, we've basically turned bacteria into these tiny insulin factories.
Huh.
It's been a game changer for millions of diabetics.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Insulin is much more affordable and accessible now.
That's really fantastic. So it seems like genetic engineering is already having a positive impact on the world.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not just human health either, right? Our source mentioned bioremediation as well.
Oh, yeah, bioremediation is another great example. That's where we use genetically engineered microbes to clean up pollution.
Okay, so like oil spills or toxic waste.
Exactly. These modified microbes can break down harmful substances,
Wow.
making our planet cleaner and healthier.
That's so cool. So it's a powerful tool for environmental protection. It seems like, it's all really exciting stuff.
Yeah.
But I know there's some, big questions about where we draw the line
For sure.
with this technology. And I'm curious to unpack some of those ethical considerations that our source highlighted.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
It really does, raise some profound ethical questions.
Yeah, like what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, imagine a world where parents could, select the traits of their children.
Okay.
Intelligence, athletic ability, eye color.
It's like designer babies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like something out of a science fiction movie.
Right, but wouldn't that lead to even greater inequalities in society?
That's a huge concern.
Yeah.
If we start manipulating genes to enhance human capabilities, it could exacerbate existing social divides.
Right, because not everyone would have access to that.
Exactly. Access to these technologies might be limited to those who can afford it.
So it would create a new form of genetic privilege.
Yeah, it's a sobering thought.
It is.
We're venturing into uncharted territory here.
Yeah, for sure.
And we need to proceed with extreme caution.
Didn't our source also talk about the potential for unintended consequences?
Oh, absolutely, even with the best intentions. We're still learning about the complexities of genetics.
Right.
A seemingly small change to one gene could have a ripple effect throughout an organism
Okay.
or even an ecosystem.
So messing with the balance of things.
Exactly. We have
Yeah.
to be extremely mindful of that.
Yeah, it reminds me of that butterfly effect concept.
Oh, yeah,
A small change in one place can have huge consequences elsewhere.
exactly.
Are there any safeguards in place to try and prevent this kind of genetic mishap?
Thankfully, the scientific community is very aware of these potential risks.
Okay, good.
Extensive research and rigorous testing is absolutely essential before any genetically modified organism is released into the environment.
So a lot of responsibility involved in this field.
Absolutely.
Switching gears a bit, what about the potential benefits of genetic engineering for us as individuals?
Oh, one of the most exciting areas is personalized medicine.
Personalized medicine.
Yeah, imagine treatments tailored to your unique genetic makeup,
Oh, wow.
maximizing effectiveness and minimizing side effects. For example, certain genetic variations can influence how your body responds to specific medications.
Uh-huh.
So by analyzing your genes, doctors could prescribe the most effective drug and dosage for you.
That's amazing. It'd be like having a healthcare plan designed specifically for your DNA.
Exactly. It's a truly revolutionary approach to medicine.
It really is. And it's not just about treating existing conditions, is it?
No, it's also about prevention.
Okay.
By understanding your genetic predispositions,
Right.
you can make informed choices about your lifestyle and health care to minimize your risk of developing certain diseases.
It's like taking control of your health destiny.
Exactly.
That's powerful, but I imagine there are ethical considerations here as well, right?
Of course.
Especially around privacy and
Mhm.
access to this kind of personalized genetic information.
You're absolutely right. Safeguarding genetic data is paramount.
Yeah.
Who has access to it? How is it used? These are questions we need to address.
For sure, as this technology advances,
Right.
it's clear that genetic engineering is such a powerful tool.
It is.
We need to be so thoughtful about its implications, and our source really emphasized the importance of public dialogue
Yes.
and transparency in this field.
Absolutely. This isn't just a matter for scientists and policymakers. It concerns all of us.
Right.
The decisions we make about genetic engineering will shape the future of humanity.
It's a big deal.
It's crucial that we have open and informed discussions about its potential and its perils.
I completely agree. It's a conversation we all need to be a part of, but I have to admit sometimes the science behind all this can feel a bit overwhelming.
I understand.
Is there a way to grasp these complex concepts without needing a degree in genetics?
Well, you don't need a PhD to understand the basics. Think of it like this. Imagine our DNA as a massive library filled with books,
Oh, okay.
each containing the instructions for building and maintaining our bodies.
Uh-huh.
Genetic engineering is like having the ability to go into that library and make edits to those books, fixing typos, adding new chapters, or even rearranging entire sections.
That's a great analogy.
It is, isn't it?
It makes it much easier to visualize what's happening.
Exactly. And just like a well-written book can tell a captivating story, our genes hold the story of our lives.
I like that.
And genetic engineering gives us the ability to understand and potentially rewrite parts of that story.
Wow. It's a powerful and thought-provoking concept.
It really is.
And it highlights the responsibility we have in wielding this technology wisely.
For sure.
But let's be honest, we all love a good wow factor.
Of course.
Our source mentioned something about potentially bringing back extinct species.
Yeah.
Is that really on the table?
It might sound like science fiction, but it's an area of active research.
Really?
Scientists are exploring the possibility of using genetic engineering to de-extinct species, like the woolly mammoth or the passenger pigeon.
Woolly mammoths roaming the earth again.
It's a possibility.
That would be incredible, but wouldn't that have a major impact on our ecosystems?
That's a crucial consideration. Before attempting to bring back any extinct species, scientists would need to carefully assess the potential ecological consequences.
Right. It's not a decision to be taken lightly.
Absolutely not.
It sounds like we're stepping into a whole new era where the lines between science fiction and reality are blurring.
It does, doesn't it?
But before we get too carried away with the what-ifs, I'm curious to explore some real-world applications of genetic engineering that are already making a difference today.
Okay, yeah. There are so many fascinating examples.
Like what?
Well, one area that's really exciting is the development of disease-resistant crops.
Disease-resistant crops.
Yeah. By modifying the genes of plants, scientists can make them more resistant to pests, diseases, and even harsh environmental conditions.
So we're talking about crops that can essentially fight off threats on their own.
Exactly. It's like giving them superpowers.
Wow, and this has huge implications for global food security, right?
Absolutely. Imagine a world where crops are more resilient, require fewer pesticides, and produce higher yields. It could be a game changer for feeding a growing population sustainably.
It sounds like a win-win for both people and the planet.
It really does.
Are there other examples where genetic engineering is already having a positive impact?
Oh, absolutely. Another area that's generating a lot of excitement is the use of genetic engineering to develop new and innovative medical treatments.
Okay.
For example, scientists are using gene therapy to treat genetic disorders, such as cystic fibrosis and sickle cell anemia.
Oh.
They're also using CRISPR to develop new cancer therapies and even potential cures for HIV.
It's incredible to think that we might be on the verge of curing diseases that were once considered incurable.
I know, it's like rewriting the script of human health.
It really is. And these breakthroughs are just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
As our understanding of genetics continues to advance, the possibilities for using genetic engineering to improve human health are virtually limitless. It's
Yeah.
truly groundbreaking stuff. But amidst all this excitement,
Yeah.
we can't forget the ethical considerations we discussed earlier. How do we balance the potential benefits of genetic engineering with the need to proceed responsibly and avoid those unintended consequences?
That's the million-dollar question,
Yeah.
and it's one that requires ongoing dialogue and collaboration among scientists, policymakers, ethicists, and the public.
So it's a group effort.
We need to establish clear guidelines and regulations to ensure that genetic engineering is used ethically and for the benefit of all humankind.
It sounds like a complex and multifaceted challenge.
It is.
And it also presents a unique opportunity to shape the future of our species and our planet.
Precisely. We are at a crossroads in human history where we have the power to make profound changes to the very fabric of life.
Yeah,
It's both an exhilarating and a daunting prospect.
it really is. This deep dive into the world of genetic engineering has been a journey filled with both awe-inspiring possibilities
Yep.
and thought-provoking challenges. But before we wrap up this episode, I'd like to delve a bit deeper into the potential long-term consequences of this technology.
Okay.
What are some of the things we might not even be thinking about yet?
That's a great question. It's difficult to predict the future with certainty,
Of course.
but one concern that often comes up is the potential for widening social inequalities.
Right.
If genetic enhancements become available, will they only be accessible to the wealthy?
Creating a divide.
Exactly. A divide between the genetically enhanced and those who can't afford it.
Yeah, it's a scenario that's been explored in countless science fiction stories
Yeah.
where the rich live in a world of genetic privilege while the rest of society struggles to keep up.
Exactly. It's a cautionary tale that we need to heed.
We do. And then there's the issue of unintended consequences, as we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
We're still learning about the complexities of genetics.
Right.
And even a small change in one gene could have unforeseen ripple effects throughout an organism or even an entire ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Like that butterfly effect we talked about before.
Yeah.
A tiny flap of wings in one place can cause a hurricane on the other side of the world.
Exactly.
It's a reminder that we need to proceed with caution and humility, recognizing that we don't have all the answers when it comes to genetics.
We definitely don't.
So it's not just about the potential benefits, but also about managing the risks responsibly and ethically.
Right.
What steps can we take to ensure that genetic engineering is used for the greater good of humanity?
Well, one crucial step is establishing clear ethical guidelines and regulations for research and development.
Okay.
We need to make sure that genetic engineering is used for legitimate medical and scientific purposes and not for frivolous or harmful applications.
So no designer babies with superhuman strength or glowing skin.
Exactly.
It sounds like we need to have a serious conversation about what limits we want to place on genetic engineering.
We do, and it's a discussion that needs to involve scientists, ethicists, policymakers, and the public.
Because we all have a say.
We do. We all have a stake in shaping the future of this technology.
I couldn't agree more. This isn't just a scientific issue, it's a societal one. But before we wrap up our deep dive, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the potential for genetic engineering to address some of humanity's biggest challenges.
Oh, yeah.
It's not all doom and gloom, right?
Absolutely not. Genetic engineering holds incredible promise for solving problems that have plagued us for centuries.
Okay, like what?
Well, for starters, imagine a world without genetic diseases.
Wow.
With gene therapy and other genetic engineering techniques, we could potentially cure diseases like cystic fibrosis, Huntington's disease, and even certain types of cancer.
That's a future I can definitely get behind. No more suffering from debilitating genetic conditions. What else is on the horizon?
Think about food security with a growing global population. We need to find ways to produce more food with fewer resources.
Right.
Genetic engineering can help us develop crops that are more resistant to pests, diseases, and drought, leading to higher yields and more sustainable agriculture.
So we're talking about feeding the world and protecting the environment at the same time.
Exactly.
That's what I call a win-win.
It is. And let's not forget the potential for genetic engineering to help us combat climate change.
Oh.
Yeah. Scientists are exploring ways to engineer plants that absorb more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping to mitigate the effects of global warming.
Wow, so we could be using genetic engineering to heal both ourselves and the planet.
We could.
That's an incredible thought.
It is, and it highlights the importance of approaching genetic engineering with a sense of responsibility and a commitment to using it for the greater good.
Well said. It's clear that genetic engineering is a powerful tool with both incredible potential and significant risks as we wrap up this deep dive. What's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important takeaway is that the future of genetic engineering is not predetermined. It's up to us to shape it. We need to engage in a thoughtful dialogue, consider the ethical implications, and make informed decisions about how we want to use this powerful technology.
Beautifully put. It's a call to action for all of us to stay informed, stay curious, and stay engaged. The future's in our hands, and it's up to us to use this knowledge wisely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating and complex world of genetic engineering. Until next time, keep exploring.
Yeah, it really is mind-boggling to think about all of that. Like, we have that much power over the future of life itself.
It is pretty amazing.
All these possibilities, good and bad, it's a lot to process.
It is.
What are your thoughts?
Well, it's definitely a mixed bag.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you have the potential to eradicate diseases, solve food shortages, even mitigate climate change.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there are real risks of, exacerbating social inequalities,
Yeah.
creating unintended consequences, and even crossing ethical boundaries.
It's like we're walking a tightrope here.
It is.
So how do we navigate this complex landscape? Where do we even begin to find balance?
I think education is key.
Okay.
The more people understand about genetic engineering.
The better equipped they'll be to engage in informed discussions and make responsible decisions.
Mm-hmm.
We need to encourage critical thinking
Mm-hmm.
and open dialogue about both the benefits and the risks.
That makes sense. Knowledge is power, as they say, but it's not just about understanding the science, is it?
No, it's not.
We also need to consider the ethical implications.
Absolutely. Ethics should be at the forefront of every decision we make about genetic engineering.
Right.
We need to ask ourselves some tough questions.
Yeah.
Like, what are the potential consequences of our actions?
Yeah.
Are we crossing any moral boundaries? Are we prioritizing the well-being of all individuals and future generations?
It's a lot of responsibility. Are there any frameworks or guidelines in place to help us navigate these ethical dilemmas?
Fortunately, there are many organizations and institutions are working to develop ethical guidelines for genetic engineering.
Okay.
For example, the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine has published several reports on the ethical and societal implications of gene editing.
So it's not just a free-for-all?
No, it's not.
There are experts working to ensure that this technology is used responsibly. That's reassuring.
It is, and it's important to remember that genetic engineering is still a relatively young field.
Right.
We're learning new things all the time. As our knowledge grows, so too will our understanding of the ethical considerations.
It's a journey of discovery, both scientifically and ethically, but let's not lose sight of the incredible potential of this technology. Didn't our source highlight some specific examples of how genetic engineering is already making a positive impact?
Oh yeah, there are many inspiring examples.
Like what?
One that comes to mind is the development of gene therapies for previously untreatable diseases.
Okay.
Children with severe combined immunodeficiency or bubble boy disease can now live relatively normal lives, thanks to gene therapy.
That's incredible. It's like giving them a second chance at life. Are there other examples that showcase the life-changing power of genetic engineering?
Another remarkable example is the use of CRISPR to develop new cancer treatments.
Right.
Scientists are engineering immune cells to target and destroy cancer cells more effectively, offering new hope for patients with difficult-to-treat cancers.
It's amazing how this technology is pushing the boundaries of what's possible in medicine.
It really is.
It's like we're witnessing a new era of scientific breakthroughs.
Yeah, we are, and it's not just limited to human health. Genetic engineering is also being used to address environmental challenges. For example, scientists are engineering plants that can absorb more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, potentially helping to mitigate climate change.
Wow, so we could actually be using genetic engineering to heal the planet.
We could.
That's a powerful thought.
It is, and it speaks to the incredible potential of this technology when used responsibly and ethically.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. So much to think about, so much to learn. Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important thing is to stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. The future of genetic engineering is being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in ensuring that it's used for good.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a reminder that we're not just passive observers. We have a voice, and we can make a difference. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of genetic engineering. Until next time, keep exploring,